Welcome back to The Line for our final topic this week. A group of people who oppose the Albuquerque Rapid Transit project have filed multiple legal challenges in recent months. The latest effort to halt construction was rejected this week by the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. Tom, the project is going forward despite vocal objections, and I tell you, Facebook is just filled with pictures of cranes ripping out trees, and we've got dirt running down the middle of Century that people just couldn't believe. We've got reports of lead and coal traffic spiking. Just a lot of different things going on there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that folks will eventually accept this project? This is just the bubble of change, or is this something that's going to be just not great for the city in the long haul?
I think it'll be. I think it'll be good for the city of Albuquerque in the long haul. I mean, just coming to the studio here today, I mean, the traffic is a mess.
Right.
But you know what? I haven't seen a road construction project yet where construction wasn't a mess.
In any city, anywhere. Right?
Absolutely. Right. So I was kind of I definitely appreciate the plight of the business shop owners of some of them wanting to push this issue through. But it occurred to me that the University of New Mexico also being in session at the same time as construction, and yet I haven't really heard much from the University of New Mexico on this particular project.
They support it.
Okay, well,
there you go.
Surprise. Yeah.
Right.
But it's one of these things that this too shall pass, and within a month to 2 months from now, as the project moves around, you'll have that displaced aggression that will move slowly from Nob Hill to other parts of Central.
That's true too. The single lane thing, Sophie, is really active too. Folks really complaining about the traffic and sitting in traffic going down Central. I've experienced it on a bus. That's actually not a lot of fun to sit in traffic on a bus on Central. But I ask again, is this just one of those things? Because there's been a theory out there that maybe we're a little bit spoiled here. We're so used to be able to drive right up to a store we want to, but you can see the front door. Where we live, we can park wherever we want to. Now we have a little bit of city-type inconvenience going here. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that my sense is that the inconvenience we're experiencing right now is not going to be the same level of that we're going to see once the project is completed, in part because buses will be out of the way, but also because people do drive slowly in construction zones no matter what. So I have made a point, I live relatively close to Nob Hill, to going into Nob Hill, eating there, shopping there. I'm not afraid of a construction vehicle. I'm happy to go in there and do it.
Yeah.
My sense is, and we need additional mass transit in Albuquerque. Nobody is going to like it in their neighborhood. I think it's unfortunate that the businesses in Nob Hill spent so much time and so much credibility, and I've said this to business owners there, convincing us that we do not want to go down into Nob Hill during construction. I mean, I've heard from business owners who said, my business dropped 25% before construction started, and my feeling is it's because you did such a good job of telling your patrons don't come to Nob Hill. I think that, so I think that there's a PR problem that business owners have really generated to a certain extent themselves, and I think it's going to get better.
PR problems. Do these legal challenges create a PR problem? Are we seeing this differently because of all these legal challenges?
I think this is going to go down as a textbook example of bungled PR from the very beginning. Lack of serious community outreach. There was some token stuff that happened. I can tell you, as someone who has supported public transit and to have a Republican mayor sort of stick his neck out, and I've been no apologist for him by any means, and then to have the kind of opposition to a major public investment. Look, if you're not for sprawl, if you're not for the Santolinas of the world, then we have to find a way to invest in the core of our city. And this is a big project with a lot of money that, had the right outreach been done, had the PR been managed a little bit differently, had we really done a better job, frankly, and I used to be in that business of saying to folks, like, let's get a lot more folks in the room, and maybe there would have been some tweaks to the concept, then I think, would there still have been detractors in the NIMBY issue? Of course there would have been. If you've ever been in local government, that's part of the deal. However, I think this is going to go down as a really, and I hope in the long run that we'll find a way to build on this and to get past some of these issues. I just want to say, to Sophie's point, I hope we will try to, as I have, to try to patronize this business. Part of the PR should be like, look, these guys are key small businesses. Let's support them during the construction phase, and let's prove them wrong that in the long run, it's actually going to be great for Albuquerque as opposed to.
You just hit a sore spot for me. I'm telling you, this bruise runs so deep in my soul. The idea that the folks who supported this, Janice Arnold-Jones, did not come out and say, look, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I know there's going to be trouble here, but I want to lead in spend where I think it's going to be difficult. I want everybody else to come too. That never happened. Nobody came out and said that to protect these folks, these business owners that Sophie was mentioning before. On another deal, though, we also have this art thing as an advisory question on the ballot coming up, which is sort of interesting in a way. It doesn't really mean anything, but it sort of does mean something. What would you make of it if it turned out overwhelmingly people said, thumbs down on this?
I actually think that's what's going to happen.
But I just think we need to clarify, this vote right now is not thumbs up or thumbs down on the project.
not.
That's right.
It's something totally different. So you could come in and say, I think we should vote on it, and I like the project, or
Sure.
I think we should vote on it, and I don't like the project. It's not going to give us resolution.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the core of the problem, and just because I deal with neighborhoods a lot. Here was an area in particular, speaking of Nob Hill, that had its own identity. It was really very cozy. And the option to use Lomas, which did not have the restrictions that Central had, was probably the first thing that the neighborhood said. And then they got to see the design at the end. And I will tell you what, they still refer to it as pimples. They don't like the design.
Yeah.
And it seemed like nobody listened. And so while I do think we will adjust, I think it will go down kind of like the Rail Runner is. This isn't working really good, and it really doesn't feel very good.
Right.
But part of the question that we have here is, in this last week, it came to light, not too surprisingly, that the federal government has not signed off on this.
That's right.
And, you know, not often you can count on the fact that mostly the money will come. But I have seen politics raise its ugly little head, and people of alternate persuasions will be surprised and there is no money. And if that happens, where will Albuquerque find the money?
There's a small percentage that could happen. Not saying it's a big percentage,
Not a
but
big
it's
one.
out there,
It is
Tom.
out there.
It's out there that the FD, or whoever the government agency is, has not signed off on this.
Yeah,
and neither
well-
has Congress. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, trying to get something, you know, rushed through the federal government is an
It's-
oxymoron.
That's right. Touch on the PR thing we've been talking about a little bit here, though, too. It's easy to look back on something.
Yeah.
Is the problem fundamentally, I went to quite a few of those hearings, those neighborhood hearings in Nob Hill and other places, too, just to observe, and no disrespect for the people that were presenting, but you had traffic engineers.
Yeah.
Trying to present something that was very emotional to people. And there was a huge clash because of that. These poor traffic engineers could not take that in and just feed it back and say, well, we think this is how it's going to be better for you.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen that way.
Yeah, the whole, you know, to Eric's point, yeah, the advanced PR of it was just not handled well at all.
Yeah.
You know, I think, though, that, and gosh, I know I'm going to get emails as a result of this, but
We all will.
we all will, yeah, it's part of the game. But the Nob Hill area, it was already losing relevancy before this whole project started.
You wouldn't be alone in that
You
thought.
had a lot of vacancies, you had a lot of different items, then all of a sudden this comes up, and I think what a lot of shop owners thought was, hey, now we can get our arms around the reason, you know, this is the reason why we're suffering and why we're going out of business. And you actually have real estate owners there, as far as the folks who own the buildings, who jack up the prices so high that small business cannot thrive there. Not only that, but because they haven't been able to thrive in that particular area, you've had other places around Albuquerque have just started to pop up.
Right.
There's a similar project that's going to be starting soon on 4th Street through Los Ranchos. You don't see a lot of people with picket signs saying, oh, we don't like this project. Everybody's embracing it. And it's the same kind of road diet. Granted, no central bus lane or anything like that, but you're adding sidewalks. You're creating a reason for people to be down there.
Right.
And so I think it's kind of the tale of two cities, if you will, between, you know, the heart of Albuquerque with Central and the soul of Albuquerque with 4th, and how the two companies are really approaching it.
That's a good point there. Thank you all. Good stuff. Really good stuff on a Friday night. Sorry, I had to bail quick there. We're right hard on time. I'm Gene Grant. Thanks for joining us for New Mexico in Focus. And as always, we appreciate your time and effort to stay informed and engaged. We'll see you next week in Focus.
Funding for New Mexico in Focus provided by the McCune Charitable Foundation. And the Nalita E. Walker Fund for KNME-TV, the KNME-TV Endowment Fund, and viewers like you.